You've seen them, right? The new Apple Silicon Macs. They're amazing, super powerful, and the starting price, not too bad. But then you click that little upgrade button for more memory or storage, and bam, the price just skyrockets. It makes you wonder, is there any way around this? Can you actually upgrade what Apple says is unupgradable? And to really get a sense of just how wild this is, check out this quote. I mean, think about that for a second. Apple isn't just charging a little extra, they're valuing their memory chips by weight at more than gold. That's just insane. Okay, so let's put some real numbers on this. You walk in, you see the base M2 MacBook Air for about $1,000. Nice. But you need more space. A lot more. So you spec it up to 2 terabytes. The price jump? $800. I mean, for $800, you're almost at the price of a second laptop, all for a bit of extra storage. So you might be thinking, why can't I just do what I've always done? Buy the cheap one now and then pop in a bigger drive later when I need it. Well, here's the catch. Soldered components. Apple literally melts the memory and storage chips directly onto the main circuit board. There are no slots, no little clips, nothing you can unplug. Once it's built, that's it. It's a done deal. Now, to be fair, there's a good reason for some of this. When it comes to the RAM, the memory, soldering it down makes it faster. The signal has a shorter trip to the processor. That's a real valid engineering reason. We get it. But for storage, the SSD, there's really no performance benefit. And how do we know? Apple's own Mac Studio has removable storage slots. So if it's not for performance, it kind of starts to look like it's just about money, doesn't it? Okay, so if Apple has locked the front door, is there a way to, pick the lock? We're about to dive in and follow a real expert who's trying to do exactly that. Defy Apple and pull off the impossible upgrade. And right off the bat, let's be clear. You are not doing this with a screwdriver and a pair of pliers you bought at the hardware store. Look at this list. A hot air rework station, BGA stencils. This is some serious professional level gear for working on microscopic components. This is brain surgery for computers. So that's the real question, isn't it? Even if you have all this crazy equipment and you've practiced for years, is it really possible? Can someone actually do this without turning a $1,000 MacBook into a paperweight? Well, let's see. All right, let's get into it. We're watching an expert at work, deconstructing a brand new M2 MacBook Air. The mission? To perform a delicate transplant. Take out the tiny original storage chip and solder in a much, much bigger one. And the process? Wow, it's a masterclass in precision. First, you have to carefully lift off the old chip without frying anything. Then, you've got to clean the logic board perfectly. Then comes the crazy part. You have to manually install new components. After that, you prep the new chip, and finally, you solder it all back into place. Every single step is a chance for total disaster. But just when you think it's just a matter of careful work, there's a twist. As soon as the original 256 gig chip comes off the board, a hidden challenge appears. And this is something that only happens on the cheapest base model. Get this, to save a few pennies, Apple didn't just leave an empty spot on the board where a second chip would go. They also left off around 50 microscopic support components, tiny little capacitors and resistors that are absolutely essential. So now, the job isn't just swapping a chip, it's rebuilding a whole section of the circuit board by hand, using a leaked blueprint. And the whole time, you're working with insane temperatures. We're talking 380 degrees Celsius. That's over 700 Fahrenheit. You need that heat to melt the special solder. But if you hold it there for a fraction of a second too long, or if your hand slips even a little bit, poof, the whole thing is dead. The pressure is immense. But then, after hours of what looks like pure magic, it happens. The machine is reassembled, it powers on, and there it is. The storage has gone from a measly 256 gigs all the way up to 2 terabytes. It actually worked. The impossible wasn't so impossible after all. Okay, so a seasoned pro can pull it off, but that doesn't mean much for the rest of us, right? So what happens when a novice, someone with a lot less experience, tries to do the same thing, even with the expert guiding them? Let's put this process to a real-world test. And honestly, you're watching this and you're thinking, no way. But the physical work is flawless. The new chips are on, the soldering looks perfect. It seems like it's gonna work. All that's left is to run the Apple software to get the new hardware recognized. And then, disaster. Right at the finish line, a big, fat error message pops up. An error occurred while formatting the NAND. Just like that. The physical work was perfect, but the whole thing failed. The new chips are basically bricks. So, what happened? Was it a tiny mistake the novice made? Nope. The crazy part is, the soldering work was fine. The problem was the chips themselves. The parts they bought from a supplier were just bad. They did manage to save the project by swapping in another set of backup chips for a 1 terabyte upgrade this time, but this reveals the biggest risk of all. You can do everything perfectly, but if the parts you buy are duds, you're out of luck.
So, we've seen an expert succeed against the odds, and we've seen a novice's attempt almost end in total failure. What's the final verdict here? What should we take away from all this?
Let's answer the big question we started with. Can you upgrade a modern Mac? And the answer is yes, you absolutely can. But, and this is a huge but, it is an incredibly difficult, high-risk process. It's not for the average person or even the average DIYer. This is expert territory. And you might be wondering, okay, but why does this even matter if I can't do it myself? Well, it's about more than just a cool tech demo. For every person who gets this done, they're saving a ton of money. But bigger than that, they're keeping a perfectly good, powerful machine from ending up in a landfill, all because it ran out of space. It's about the right to repair what you own. Which brings us to one last big question to leave you with. When a product is this hard to upgrade, is that just a design flaw? An unfortunate side effect of making things smaller and faster? Or is it a business model? That's really something to think about.